Hey, welcome to our home bar seminar. We do this every week. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate, along with my good friend and colleague,
Patricia Castillo.
and our good friend and colleague and mortgage lender.
Shannon the lender. How's it going, guys?
And the question jumps out: is it a good time to buy? I mean, we're in war in the Middle East of some sort, or we're not in war. We're in military action, or we're doing something. We're shooting bombs off, or sinking ships. How does that affect home buying? Shannon, you say you talked to some people concerned. What's the concern about buying houses right now?
Yeah, I mean, I had two people yesterday actually. One's going conventional, one's FHA. Both, as I'm going through the numbers, and they're great numbers. They're both in the fives. They have great FICO scores. They didn't hear any of that. They just said, "Hey, question. With the war going on, is this a good time to buy, or should I wait?" So, what in you guys' professional opinion, I mean, you guys are very experienced agents. Is this a good time to buy? Still, should people be on the sidelines waiting? What do you guys think?
I think waiting costs money. So
Oof,
I
that's a
have
little.
I actually have a buyer that I'm working with right now. We were looking, just to give you an example, we were looking at homes last year around November. And then the holidays rolled around and they said, well, we want to wait. I said, if you wait until next year, prices are going to go up and there's going to be more activity. Well, they had some things going on within their family, so they decided to wait. Right now, we're shopping. So, just within the few months that they waited, we're writing offers at 50,000 over where we're at last year. And this is just in October, November, right? So, right now, I mean, yes, the war is going on. Rates might fluctuate, but that's a temporary situation with the interest rates. If you end up locking it at a rate of 6%, 6.25, you can always refinance once things settle and the interest rates come back down again. But if you decide to wait until things settle down, by then you could be paying a lot more money. So it all comes down to really the needs of the buyers. And if they are ready to purchase right now and they do have the funds available, they are pre approved, then there's really no reason to wait other than if you want to pay more money in the future. I think as spring rolls around and the summer, it's going to really get a lot busier.
Yeah, and I mean, just for context, rates right now, FHA we're at 5.25, conventional 5.875, so bumped up a little bit, maybe an eighth,
Mhm.
but still relatively low from compared to the last few years. And I would just say, look at your personal economy as much as you're looking at the overall economy. What's your personal economy? And we've talked about this so many times. Are you ready? Do you have the funds? Do you have the income? Have you positioned yourself? Because it's still a good opportunity, in terms of if you're just looking at rates and waiting for that train, that train's already here, but it looks like prices maybe have, buyers are coming out again. We already said this. Rates come down, buyers are coming out. I'm getting so many pre-approval applications coming in. Doesn't seem like it's making a dent in the interest. So people are still out there looking. And so I told this person, hey, look, if you're not going to buy this house, someone's going to get it.
Right.
If it's not you. Does the payment make sense? They said yes. Does the rate make sense? Yes. Have you guys been wanting to buy for a while? Yes. Then are we intercepting missiles in California? No. So we're safe, right? I know an agent in Dubai. She's still producing, and there's being missiles intercepted there. So look, in California, is it going to happen? I don't see it happening. So that was my rebuttal. But
I try to follow
yeah,
people who have a lot of money, because in terms of financial decisions, people who are
yeah, follow the
worth
money.
billions, their success is already proven. And so, interesting if you watch the story of F1 racing, Formula One racing, if you follow it, the first race of the year is coming up. I want to say this weekend or next weekend in
In Long
Australia.
Beach. Oh, okay.
And a lot of the F1 teams are based in Europe, Italy, and France, and England. And so the normal path to fly cargo, because F1 moves a lot of cargo. You have all this equipment and cars and stuff and people, would be kind of stopping through the Middle East. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, are, Emirates Airlines are big hubs for international air from, say, Europe to Australia, which is where the first race is. And there were a lot of teams that were stranded in the Emirates and Dubai because of the military. So are they canceling the race? No. They're rerouting their transportation around around that. So they're taking planes in other directions to get around it to get to Australia. They're not having the race. They're just not flying where they can't fly because there's military action. And so I think we have a different world. When I remember when the first Desert Storm War started, it was very scary. I remember I went to a basketball game and people sang the national anthem, and you felt like the world was about to end. And because I don't think we knew as much, now we have people with phones in these war zones showing us what's really happening. And while it is tragic if you live in Iran and you're being shot at or missiles or killed, God forbid, and it is disconcerting what's going on there, we know where it is and we know where it isn't. And so I don't mean make callous, but I think that there's reasonable precautions. I wouldn't fly through the Middle East, but if I wanted to get to Australia, I might go through LA to go through the Pacific route instead and get there and enjoy the race if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. I think I'm more concerned, and I'm more concerned about AI than I am the war, in terms of real estate, right? And I think even Bill or even Patricia, you guys pointed it out. Real estate is hyper local, right? So, what's going on in your city? Are things happening in your city? What's going on there now? Could we see oil prices adjust? Things change pricing? Yes. Definitely take that in consideration. But hey, is your job secure? Is your income secure? Is your savings secure? If so, assets are always a good thing to rely on and fall back on. And again, that's my rebuttal to that question there. But yeah, it's definitely on people's minds. And like you said, Bill, people have phones, so they look at it and they're thinking, man, how's this going to affect me? But as Patricia says, people are still submitting offers, right? If this is something that you're concerned about, there's the buyer next to you is going to go after it. And as Warren Buffett once said, when people are scared, and there's, scarcity in the market, then not scarcity, but when people are fearful, that's when you buy. And when people are greedy, that's when you should be fearful. So I think this might be one of those examples.
Well, I can tell you, I have a bunch of listings, and the ones that have the price right have a bunch of offers coming in, and I get texts and phone calls on them every day. The ones that are overpriced, not as much, and it has nothing to do with Iran or military or China or AI. It has to do with if it's priced right, that people want to buy houses. And the other thing I always tell people is, this isn't an election is a good time to buy, meaning it's not true that half of America is looking to buy a house right now. In a good year, maybe 5 or 6 million people, 5 or 6 million houses are sold, which means out of 350 million Americans, maybe out of 100 million families, 5 million are going to buy a house, not half of them. And so it's just the number of people who want to buy a house that we have to concern ourselves with. It'd be nice if everybody could afford to buy a house. It just isn't the case today.
Yeah. And what do you guys think about this AI? I got a news alert that Jack Dorsey from the company Block or Square laid off 4,000 people at once because of AI. Now, obviously, these are a lot of software engineering jobs right now, for sure. There's, those are getting hit the hardest. So those are getting completely wiped out. But have you guys seen that with any of your buyers? Anyone around your circle mention anything about layoffs that they're experiencing?
No.
I don't.
In fact,
Okay,
no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't really deal with customers who are working. My son-in-law works a lot with people from SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving their headquarters here from Hawthorne to Texas, so they're moving out. He works a lot with high-tech people in Santa Monica. There are some layoffs there or slowdown in activity. Jack Dorsey's a unique example. If you remember when Elon Musk bought Twitter, now X at the time, and there's a lot of politics behind it. 80%, he cut 80% of the workload, and it works better today than it did when they had more people. And so Jack Dorsey kind of has a history of overstaffing and not being attentive to management. So I don't know. That's a very good example as far as the whole economy.
So you think that's an anomaly in terms of like layoffs? I'm thinking, hey, this might be the canary in the coal mine with what's to
I,
come.
I wouldn't use his company as an example. I do think there are companies that are laying people off, software companies and Google and Facebook and Amazon. But there's a lot going on. One is they're also diversifying their footprint. They used to all be based in Silicon Valley. Now they're trying to move more across America. I think for politics, I think they were all in last time around in California and other blue states, and that worked for the last 4 years. And now, I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but given the Trump administration, they have to at least try to find some way to be more fair and balanced in that regard. So there's some of that going on. Like Google's hiring outside of Silicon Valley, but not laying off people in Silicon Valley. But I don't see an overall trend. I think the AI, each of us have to make a decision. Are we going to use this as an excuse or use this as a way to be more productive? And I can just tell you, I'm 67 years old. There's never been a time that I had more power and more energy and more ability to communicate with more people effectively than now because of technology. It's just freaking amazing the things I can do that I couldn't do before. And it gets better every day. And I've embraced it. I spend 30 minutes a day learning AI tools to put in my business, and I work at it all the time. It's a long ways away from where I think it will be, but it is where it is today, is way ahead of things. So I think it's important for those of us who want to be successful to embrace this opportunity and learn the tools. And I think anybody who does will be more viable.
Yeah. And
That's so cool. You have to stay up to date with the technology, especially in our business, because we work virtually. We're not physically present in an office, but that also helps our clients because we can share these tools with them as well. Some of these tools that we use for signatures, for signing, sharing reports, things like that, we can easily share information with our clients because of the technology that we use.
yeah.
And sometimes we have to show them a little tutorial on how to use it, but once they grasp it, I mean, it's so convenient for the client as well. I think it's all very much of a time saver for a lot of people to stay up to
That's a
date
good idea. Probably do like a tutorial one day on how to even help calculate your mortgage payment using AI. I might maybe craft something up so we can share that. But Bill, you also mentioned something too I want to elaborate on, because a lot of tech companies are leaving California, but it doesn't look like it's impacting the real estate market too much. I don't see any prices dipping. Do you guys know why that is? I mean, there's so many headlines of companies leaving, but I don't see a dent in, maybe except for Bakersfield. I'm seeing a lot of properties in Bakersfield. That was because of the oil. I think that oil refinery company left. But outside of that, why all these tech companies leaving and all these California exodus news alerts coming out? However, it's not making a dent in these prices at all. Oh, Bill, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm battling a little bit of a cold here today. Sometimes
No worries.
Technology to
Mute you.
I would say that California uniquely is doesn't build houses. And so if you don't add more houses and you bring in people, we and as a state, we've been more open and welcoming to immigrants around the world. So we have citizens moving out, and but we have more people moving in, and so the population has stayed stable, but we don't build that many houses, and we burn down about 18,000 in the Los Angeles area. So when you have limited supply, the price can't really go down that much. And that's the main factor, I think, on our prices is it's gotten so expensive. Now, you can make a good argument that California is good to make a hard build houses, because on the flip side, if you look at some stories in other states, I saw an article about how in Texas, the largest home builder, D.R. Horton, is building a lot of houses, but a lot of them are really poorly built. They don't have the same requirements we have. They're designed to protect consumers, designed to protect the environment. But the flip side is they also don't have maybe enough regulation to protect the consumers buying the houses and getting ripped off. So there's a trade-off between the two. And I think, I live here in California. The weather's beautiful. But the housing is definitely way more expensive than other places. And the school system, that's the other thing I think that's going to drive people. Well, if you don't have kids, you don't care. So that's why California has become a center for singles and for families that don't have children, because the education system is so bad. In my neighborhood, like my daughter, we have 3 grandkids, 2 in school. They're going to private school. It's very expensive. Our private school is twice as much as it is in Florida. And literally, my kids are looking to move because between the difference in the private school tuition costs and the state income tax, it's a huge amount of money. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So again, if you don't have kids, you don't care about that. And if you have a business here, you pay state tax. But if you make a lot of money, you don't really care that much about it. There's a big story it's a funny story about Sam Darnold, the quarterback for the Seattle Supersonics, who won the Super Bowl. NFL players get charged taxes in California based on the number of days they work in our state. Normally, football players, NFL players, they fly in on Friday, stay Saturday, and leave Sunday. And so they have 2 days they're here full time. And they get charged for 2 days. But for the Super Bowl, they have to be here for a whole week. The Super Bowl was in Santa Clara. So Sam Darnold's charge for 1 week's pay on his regular salary of $30 million was more than a Super Bowl bonus. I think he got like $175 as a Super Bowl bonus, and it cost him $200 in taxes. Now, nobody's going to cry over a guy who makes $30 million a year. But the point is that the taxes are affecting people, and people make the decision to move based on those taxes. So to answer your question as far as housing, I think California is aware they have a problem. They're trying to figure out how to negotiate it. The housing prices is one thing that people take care of the value. So as long as we have less houses being built, I don't see the value of the houses dropping tremendously ever. It's just too nice to live here.
I think one of the good examples of that, Bill, is the listing in Inglewood, right? The home is not turnkey. It's kind of messy. It's in a great location, so people will pay a premium to live in a specific location for the reason that maybe the schools, maybe they want to be close to family. People just don't like to drive anymore, right? It's the traffic we have here is just, it's so difficult.
Right.
It's stressful. It takes up too much time. If you're not working from home, you may not be so tied to a specific location, but if you are commuting, that does play a big factor because you think about the wear and tear on your car, the gas, especially with the prices going up and down with gas, and the time that you're spending on the road. So people will pay a premium to live in a specific location. And that's a good example is one of the buyers I'm working with right now. We offered $40,000 over the list price on a property that they really, really want to live in because of the location. And this is in LA County. So LA County, I think, is also very attractive for a lot of buyers for that reason, because they have family here. I have friends that have moved out of California. Now they're trying to move back.
I have
Prices
that too. Yeah.
are just, they're shocked. They're sticker shocked. But at the same time, they're still planning on coming back, right? Because they've accepted that they're going to have to pay a premium to live here. So going back to when we started this podcast right now, today's podcast, we're looking at the economic factors. Should you buy? Should you wait? The longer you wait, it's going to cost you. So that's something that you have to look at, as Shannon said, your own economy, and see what you can afford. If you can afford the payment, if you have all your documents ready, if you have the down payment and you're ready to go, there's no reason why you should pull back and wait, because you could easily be paying, like my clients, $50,000 more for the same house if you wait just a few months. It's going to get more competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, the air of Inglewood has just exploded. I remember when they announced the football stadium, you might have thought it would create some jobs and whatever, but it wasn't just a football stadium. It was surrounded with high class, high quality commercial space. I think the NFL has their offices there now, as well as some residential space. And you bring that many high-paying jobs, that helps all the restaurants, helps all the businesses around there. And then they built the Intuit Dome, I think the highest tech basketball stadium in the world, like right across the street. And I thought, well, what big deal can that make? Well, I got to tell you, Inglewood is just, it's insane that the market draw there for a well-priced house versus other markets. It's just insane. And it's not a football stadium and a basketball stadium. It's the ecosystem that they brought with them. That's the difference now. These stadiums bring like a whole, not even neighborhood, but a whole area of economic activity that powers that area. And Inglewood has just been on fire ever since. It's just been crazy.
It really is. We're living it right now.
Thank God I'm living on that one listing. We're hopefully getting an escrow. And Patricia, we'll talk about that one, but hopefully put that in escrow here in the next couple of days. Well, let's wrap up because I appreciate the talk. We got a little longer than we might normally, but it was really interesting. Shannon, someone wants to get a hold of you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, my Instagram, Fun with Shannon, or my phone number is 661-317-8484. Feel free to reach out to me, get you qualified within 24 hours. Right now, I'm almost going to be at 48 hours, but as of right now, we're at 24. So,
Awesome.
Cool.
yeah.
Patricia, someone wants to get a hold of you.
My cell phone, 323-365-9909.
And she answers her phone and answers her text. I got to tell you, 'cause we talk almost every day, so we've been pretty busy together. Great agent. Hey, I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. If I can help in any way, we do this we have new episodes dropping every Friday. Reach out, let us know your thoughts, subscribe, like this, send us some comments.
Put a
As always,
comment.
make a comment. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.